Education. Legislation doesn't matter. All it does is make money for people. Make money for the government, make money for the people that own the prisons. That's what laws are good for. Which is why we have some money, right? There's something like 150,000 laws governing business. I'm a fan of Ron Swanson. I know he's a fictional character, but he's also kind of my hero. From Parks and Recreation, if you don't know, forget his real name. Off the top of my head, I'm sure somebody will put it in the comics or the comments and say, hey idiot, this is his real name. But Ron Swanson said, here, I have an apple. Would you like to buy this apple? Well, yes, I would. There, that's as easy as it should be to start a business in America. But it's not. It's ridiculously convoluted to the point that they fail. They don't get started in the first place. Great ideas go to the wayside because it's just not worth it dealing with the government, right? So, education, not legislation. If we were to educate people the right way to live, and here's a news flash for you out there, there is a right way to live, right? There's always the best option to every single situation you're in, right? And if we were all to take that best option every time, we would live a lot better life. Some people will say, you can't tell me how to live, and there's no one right way to live life. Well, there is. And just mostly young people, right? Young people are stupid, though. Hopefully they'll learn before it's too late that they're stupid. Hopefully I did. Anyway, we can't legislate things without educating people, the reasons behind them. I was in the military. Okay, I was in the Air Force. That's like almost the military. So I was in the military. And we have basic training, right? All basic training, you know. Yes, even for the Air Force, it still sucks. It's still a shock to the system. And they rule by fear. There's a rule of fear and there's a rule of love. And I kind of liken that to this letter of the law and the spirit of the law. So ruling by fear is very much basic training, right? Anybody that's gone through it will tell you. You get there and you don't stop getting yelled at until you leave there. Really, your tech school or AIT or A school or whatever your service calls it, you get yelled at there a lot too. Because that gets a quick reaction and the one they want. Ruling through fear. You know if you don't do something, there will be exact and dire consequences to it. Maybe not exact, because they get pretty creative, right? But there will be consequences that are probably way worse than the crime. The punishment is way worse than the crime was, right? Because the crime is probably like not folding your socks right. So then, you know, well, it's bad, right? Don't want to unfold your socks. At some point, though, that has to transition from the rule of fear to the rule of love. And what I mean is, after you get out of the basic training, the boot camp, you go to your school, right? And they kind of take it a little bit easier on you there. They don't ride you quite as hard. And then you get to your first duty station, right? And all of a sudden you have like this immense amount of freedom. Like, you can go off base when you want to. So, unless you're a Marine in Okinawa. Sorry, guys. You have so much freedom, right? And then all of a sudden you can do whatever you want to. You can go get drunk. You can go smoke weed. You can go do whatever you want to, right? Now, what stops you from doing that? It's not the drill sergeant. It's not the fear anymore. It's the desire to want to follow the rules, the rule of love, because you love the Air Force, the military, the country, whatever. It's because you transition from, if I don't do this, I'll get in trouble, to, hey, you know what, I want to do this because it's the right thing, right? Or it's just the best choice. So that's my best way to describe it right there, you know. And like I said before, the letter of the law, the spirit of the law, for those of you that don't know, you know, in the Bible it says the letter of the law killeth, but the spirit giveth life. And it's talking about the Jews during Christ's time followed the law to exactness, to include how many steps you could walk on the Sabbath day before it became work, or how close your food could be to the fire before it was cooking, and you were considered you were breaking the Sabbath, right? Oh, tons of rules. But see, that's not what it was about, right? The letter of the law was not what it's about. It was the spirit of the law. It was, and that's why when Christ came, you know, he got rid of the Ten Commandments. Well, he didn't get rid of them, right? He summarized the Ten Commandments by saying, love God and love your neighbor. Because if you love your neighbor, you're going to do all these things in the Ten Commandments anyway, right? So the Ten Commandments did not go away. They were just summarized, along with 1,000 other things. They were summarized by the two great commandments that Christ gave us. And that's what gives us life, the Spirit. Because then you do things because they're right. You don't have to have a law saying what to do. You don't have somebody telling you what to do. You do what's right because it's right. And that's why most people don't go around killing everybody, right? Or go around raping everybody, or go around stealing stuff, because it's just, we know what's wrong. Right? Do you know what's wrong? My kids know what's wrong, okay? My kids are young, under 10, except for one of them. He's 11. The rest from under 10, and they know what's right and wrong. Because yes, there is a right and a wrong. Charlie Brown. And so if we teach people instead of legislate people, I think that our country would be a whole lot better place. I think we'd have less people in jail. You know, I think we'd have less people clogging the court system. We'd have a whole lot more money that's not being tied up there that can go to other things. So, laws are not the answer. I kind of think that we need to have a clean slate on laws and just go back to a couple of the big ones. And the people that do wrong, we just take care of them like we used to, right? But now we're told, well, nobody's wrong and nobody's right. Well, that's bull crap. We're told you can't judge me. And that's usually people quoting the Bible that don't believe in the Bible, and they also only know that one verse from the Bible, and they don't know the one that's right after it that says, because the way you judge is the way you will be judged. So if you judge people righteously, if you judge them correctly, then there's no problem with it. Everybody will look at somebody, a murderer, and say, yep, you were wrong. Right? You were wrong. Why do we have to go to the extreme to find an example? Why can't we say that about everything in life? I don't know. I do. People used to. And the country used to be great. All this progress and change really hasn't done us much good, has it? Thanks, Obama.